A day in the life of a miner. It's 4 a.m. Dad gets up to go to work, and he will meet all the other miners waiting to get to the bus to either dry bread or the fair lady. All pits had strange names. All the miners would be carrying their snap food, which consisted of a bottle of water and sandwiches, carried in newspaper to guard against the mice. Sometimes Dad would take something for the pit ponies who lived underground in their stables, often ending their days blind through never seeing daylight. At 5 a.m. on Monday morning, Mother would get up and fill the copper in the corner of the kitchen with water ready for the day's washing. Then she would light the fire under the copper to heat the water. Next, out would come the dolly tub and posher. It was hard work beating the clothes in the tub. No one needed any more exercise. Afterwards, the clothes would be put through the old mangle to squeeze out the water. If the weather was good, the washing could be hung outside to dry. If not, then there would be lines of clothes hanging across the kitchen. Children would have to get up early because it was a long walk to school. If the children were lucky, they might have 2 old pennies, which is equal to less than 1 penny in today's money, which would buy a bottle of milk at playtime. Home from school at lunchtime, where they would be just in time for a piece of bread and dripping them back to school again. Anyone 5 minutes late would get the cane, and there would be sore hands. In the meantime, Mother would still be at her back-breaking job of doing the washing, which would often take all day. There was no washing machines, no central heating or hot water. All cooking and water heating had to be done on the coal fire with an oven at the side. Coal miners received very poor wages that would receive a load of coal once a month. This was brought by a lorry and tipped on the side of the road outside the house. It was then the work of Mother and the children to load the large lumps of coal into the barrel and wheel it up to the coal house, which was some distance from the road. At 4 p.m., the tin bath would be in front of the fire filled with numerous kettles of hot water. Dad would arrive home from the pit exhausted, covered with coal dust, head to toe, just the whites of his eyes showing. Mother would have his clean clothes waiting, for after she had scrubbed his back, this was a daily procedure. There were no pit baths, no machinery or trains down the coal mines in those days. The miners would walk miles underground to get to the coal face and would use their pickaxes in very dangerous conditions to extract the coal. There were also the dangers of gas, flooding, and roof falls. After tea, the children would be outside playing top and whip, skipping ball games, or kick the can. Sometimes there would be a night watchman who would sit on a stool on the pavement with a fire in a large bin. Children loved to sit around him, and he would tell stories. In almost every street there would be a cobbler, and another treat for the children would be a visit to his shop, which would be a front room of his house. The room would be almost knee-deep in nails and bits of leather, and there would always be a roaring fire with the ashes piled up to the grate. There was a wooden bench where the children would sit and watch the cobbler mend shoes. It was a real treat to sit there on a cold night with the smell of leather and his old pipe. He never minded how many children crowded in. Bedtime was 8 o'clock. Then Mother would begin the ironing. The flat irons had to be heated on the fire, and it was a very tedious job. There was no television or radio, but in the winter, the evenings were spent playing darts, cards, sewing, or singing as Mother played the piano. Most people were poor, but every one of them made the best of what they had. Doors were always open, and neighbors helped each other, and on the whole, life was happy with just the simple things. That's a viewpoint from a coal miner's kid. Here are some pictures from inside a coal mine in the Appalachian Mountains. I hope you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the slideshow. Have a great day, guys.